I'm Eric Osborne. I'm head of community at Bungie. Yeah, so we actually didn't start out with sci-fi with Destiny. We sort of explored a lot of fantasy genres, and we're trying to really figure out how we could do something that felt new and fresh for us. We just couldn't shake the lure of sci-fi as we went through. We're space lovers, we're lovers of space travel. We like to look to the stars and imagine what might be out there. And we thought, what if we took those two genres and sort of plugged them in so we could have, you know, a knight with a spaceship with a cloak and a pulse rifle, and that started to feel really good. We started to feel like, wow, that feels really unique. And so we set the universe in the same vein, or set our game universe in our solar system. So we wanted it to be very familiar for players and have kind of a unique twist. And the twist is that sometime in our future, many years from now, we're visited by a traveler, this mysterious sphere that you see in our art. And it changed our solar system and made our worlds inhabitable. And we left, and we had this great golden age where we went to the moon and built structures, we went to Mars and built a city, we went to Venus and built an academy, and really experienced this sort of time of miracles. And then something, as we were reaching out, reached back and knocked us down, and the Traveler, using almost all of its power, saved us. And now we occupy this city underneath the Traveler, and we've sort of rebuilt back up. For the first time, we're able to leave the city of our walls just as our enemies are coming in, to sort of find out what happened to our civilization, what's out there in the frontier. And now that our enemies are starting to close in, we need to get out there and take the fight directly to them. So it was a really cool, it's a new story. There's no returning characters from any of our other IPs. We had a fresh canvas that's challenging, but it's also really invigorating for the team, for our artists, our designers, our engineers, and our writers across the board. There's just a lot of fun stuff to sink our teeth into. Well, we have this concept of the Traveler who visited us and bestows great power on us. So it's able to manipulate the world. And you might imagine using science, it might be hard to make the terraforming of Mars seem plausible, or atmosphere on the moon. But in our world with the fantasy elements, we're feeling free to play around with that and add some sort of, you know, almost pulpy feel in some respects. And so we don't want to be constrained in this very rigid, very hard sci-fi space. We want to think about, what would a knight look like in this world? What would a gilded suit of armor look like in this world? How do we give somebody something very familiar and very potent like Earth, and then sort of twist it around and give them some very interesting fantasy looks of what it could look like in our future? Yeah, so the Ghost is your companion in the world. It's your AI that can light Golden Age technology for you, can give you, set you in the world and tell you what's going on, give you context for the enemies you're fighting or the places that you're going. So you're sort of a new explorer out in the frontier, and in some cases you're the first to set foot in some of these spaces. And the Ghost is arming you with knowledge about those places you're going into and helping you reactivate the long-lost technology. In terms of casting, we're not talking a whole lot about that process, but we always seem to look for people who we respect and we think can bring a really unique voice and a really unique flair to our world. So obviously Peter Dinklage is somebody that we all appreciate. We have a lot of Game of Thrones fans at the studio. I like even stuff like Elf, you know, and you know, those are just sort of, they have to feel right for us, and they have to be the right character, and that's sort of how we make those calls. We reach out and see what they have to say.
And how did he react?
Well, he's doing it, so positively, yeah. We want there to be activities for every mood in Destiny, so there absolutely is a story with a beginning and a middle and an end, and there's actually several arcs that players can explore. We want to imbue the whole world with story, even competitive multiplayer, cooperative play, and strikes or raids. The world itself, as you go out and discover, as you create your own character and change and tweak and grow and become different over time, the different armor you get, the different capes you get, the cloaks, the weapons, the powers, the movement modes, the abilities, your ship, your player, these all have stories, they all have meaning in the world itself. And so we try to think about story in terms of what are we telling the player and how are they interacting with the big overarching story of Destiny. We also try to think a lot about what's the minute by minute, second by second story. What's it like when I go and do a story for the first time by myself and then meet other players and get pulled off into another activity. That's the story of 90 minutes of a player driven experience where we go out there and we fight enemies that are fun to fight, go back to the tower with a cargo full of treasure. And those are the sort of stories that we're really trying to lean into and always sort of have. We want players to be the most powerful actor in our world.